this is the routine that I call Muscletonics. It's a kind of isometric exercise which I practice once a week. It takes less than 10 minutes. And I start by standing on tiptoes, reaching for the sky to stretch the body in every way possible, holding for a count of about 20. As you'll see, I'm going to talk all over this video. If you were going to do the same sort of routine, you wouldn't need the audio anyway, so I'll just talk over it and give you, show you what I'm doing, give you a little bit of extra background. So here my hands are behind my head, and what I'm doing is I'm visualizing pressing the ends of a steel bar between my hands behind my head, so the shoulders are quite far back, and I'm actually straining quite a lot there. It doesn't look as if I'm straining because, well, I never do, but a lot of strain there. And then this one is where hands clasped behind the back, leaning forward somewhat, raising the arms behind the head. I make it look easier than it is at first. This really stretches the shoulders, as you can see from the shoulder muscles. They're really, really contracted. Again, for a count of 20. All the movements are for about around the count of 20 mark. Here I'm doing actually two movements together. One of them is a biceps compression. That's really what's mostly going on there, and I'm also sitting down a little bit on my haunches to contract the thigh muscles. Here it's the lower part of the bicep that I'm contracting. It's really a case of focusing on the muscles and really feeling that that's what's going on. You just progressively get to know which muscles are doing what, and the idea is just to just to contract them or to stretch them in some ways. Now with this, what I'm doing is contracting the back of the bicep. As you can see there, there's a fair amount of compression going on there. Now this one is for the chest, or pecs, where what I'm doing is pushing out my chest against my arms. In fact, my arms aren't really pressing against my chest. It's just that position enables me to effectively push my pecs out. And this is doing the same thing, although it's the upper part of the pecs as well. And I did this in order really to build some muscle. I've been doing it for around 40 years. In fact, I'm 65 now. So you can see that it's pretty effective in keeping the body looking pretty good. This is the underarm muscles there, the muscles that give the back the V shape when they're really developed. And what I'm doing there is just massaging the muscle, because it's a little bit difficult to identify the muscle there, and if you sort of feel the muscle, it's easier to be able to focus in on what that muscle's doing. And there I'm just pushing the shoulder back on the upper part of that muscle, just pushing back straight, and this is exactly the same but just on the other side. And dress wise, normally I don't do it, I do it without any clothes on, because it's just more comfortable to do it completely free of any tightening of clothes, and it also helps you to see what the muscles are doing. Obviously I'm dressed here at least partially, because it's I'm doing this for a public video, and I'm just doing it to show people what I do. It's up to anybody whether they actually decide to do the same thing, but I reckon I'm a pretty good example of how effective this routine is, because I certainly wasn't as muscular as this when I started it. What I'm doing here is I'm pressing the stomach muscles outwards and then massaging them. And I find that's effective in giving the muscles the exercise and compression that they need to build. I could equally be lying on my back on the carpet doing crunches, where I keeping the feet on the ground, raising the upper part of the body to exercise the stomach muscles. That's the fairly conventional stomach movement. Now what I'm doing here is the upper back, where I'm throwing the shoulders right back and squeezing together to the center, and that has the effect of doing really pretty much the whole of the upper back. This one is where really ideally I need to be hanging on to something to steady myself. Don't be surprised if I fall over, but I'm raising my leg as high as I can, and that exercises the left hand side of the lower back, and just held there again for a count of about 20. Quite difficult to balance really. Sometimes it helps to move the arms in circles, so on. But generally, if you're relaxed, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you fall, you sort of lose your balance or whatever. Just more important to do the actual exercise, if you can call it an exercise. So that's pretty much all I do really for the back as such. You would find if you did this exercise that you could probably add one or two things to the routine. It's quite easy to get a sense of what needs to be done. And there I'm sitting on my haunches, really quite low down, and that's particularly exercising those the upper part of the thighs, the kind of exercise that skiers do to strengthen their thighs before they go for a season skiing. And now what I'm doing is some exercises for the legs. So I'm raising my knee as far as I can and then stretching my leg out, keeping the toes curled up. And that exercises the front of the calves and part of the thighs. There I'm straightening the leg, and that is clearly having an effect on the thighs, particularly the back of the calf. Again, this is another one that's very difficult to balance really. And there I'm stretching the toes out, and that seems to exercise or compress the thigh really just above the knee. And then I do the other leg, and that's all there is to it. And as you can see, that's lasting less than 8 minutes virtually. Now I do this once a week, usually on something like a Sunday morning, when I know I'm just relaxed and time isn't a problem. But actually, at that kind of rate, it's easy to fit it in more or less any time. Especially if you're in the process of, say for example, coming out of the shower or the bath or something like that, when you're dressing and you don't have to worry about getting undressed and then dressed again. And I've found that doing it once a week is quite adequate to keep my muscle tone really good. And in fact, there you go, I'm overbalancing. I have found that it's built muscle progressively over the years. I think actually that the biggest impact was when I first started it, funnily enough. But certainly over the years it has built some muscle. It's not a bodybuilder's routine. I've never done serious bodybuilding. I don't do a sport that builds muscle. I don't have the kind of genetics really that build muscle. And what you're seeing here really is the benefit of doing isometrics for in my case 40 years or so, but throughout that time it's meant that my body has always been in reasonably good condition, and let's face it, for a 65-year-old I'm looking pretty good, aren't I? So there we are. It's what I call Muscletonics. It's just a term that I coined, and it works. I've never suffered any ill effects from it. After 40 years I can say that it is brilliant exercise, and if you can benefit from it, well, I'm happy to make this video just for you.